Well, after saying each other, Paul gives this list of different kinds of people. Here there is no Gentile or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and is in all. If this represents the congregation in Colossae, this was a very diverse church. All right? He says, here there is Gentile or Jew. What's a Gentile? Anyone who's not a Jew, right? Yep. So you're either Jew or Gentile. That's how the Jews saw the world. And Gentiles and Jews were both in the Colossae church. He says here, so there would have been both circumcised and uncircumcised in the church. There would have been those who grew up in the law and those who did not grow up in the law. Those who were familiar with Old Testament and those had no idea what you're talking about the Old Testament. He mentions barbarians. Barbarians were Gentiles who didn't speak Greek. They spoke other languages, but they didn't speak Greek. Scythians were nomadic barbarians. So they didn't speak Greek, and they were nomadic. They traveled around, and they had a reputation of being very rough and crude people. And he says there were slaves and free in the church. So you had slaves, you had some slave masters, probably had some people who were free but didn't have slaves. So what do you think were maybe some of the struggles the Colossian church had with this kind of diversity? So, now this is speculation on our part, okay? But I thought it would be kind of a fun little game for us to play. What might have been some ways the church maintained unity and mutual ministry, do you think, with all this diversity? In a church with that much diversity, how much of a commitment to unity would you need? And that's it, right? I mean, that's why the Bible talks so much about unity. Because somebody goes into that body and they look at that and they're going to have that same response. This is amazing. How do you do this? How do you do this? You ask somebody and what do they say? Jesus.